It is March 22nd, 2018. Don Sipple is enjoying a late lunch in the afternoon. He's about to start when the doorbell rings. Don leaves his food and goes to the door. When he opens it, he must have been shocked. A young woman stands before Don. Her clothes are torn and smeared with mud and blood. Blood is dripping down her arm. The word boy is carved into her skin there. The woman looks at him helplessly and is in a state of utter panic. She can't even tell him her own name. Don immediately realizes that he has to call 911. But the young woman has a completely different request. She repeats a single sentence over and over again. Call Jason Mengel. Jason Mengel was 33 years old when he met the young woman I told you about at the beginning of this story in 2017. She was just 19 at the time and introduced herself as Ezra. Her real name is Monica, but she eventually dropped that name. She just felt more comfortable as Ezra. She can identify better with this name. Although the two have an age difference of 14 years, Jason and Ezra quickly become close. Both are free spirits. Ezra is an artist, and Jason, who works as a paramedic, is magically attracted to the younger woman. The relationship between the two is short but intense. Jason and Ezra will only be a couple for 8 months, but in that time, they spend every free minute together. Half joking, half seriously, they call each other husband and wife. They are definitely considering getting married soon. The couple spend a lot of time in Eau Claire, Jason's hometown. It's a college town, and many sources describe the small city as a kind of hipster stronghold. Jason and Ezra are regulars at a coffee shop called Racy's. They go there so often that they keep running into the staff, including Alex Woodworth. Alex Woodworth was born on January 1st, 1994. He grows up with his parents in the U.S. state of Wisconsin. His CV reads like a classic one. He graduates from high school, gets his bachelor's degree in philosophy and biology, and then considers what he wants to do with his life. Alex tends to want to add a master's degree in philosophy. But first, Alex is working. At Wisconsin Eau Claire, where he graduated, he has a job as a tutor. He is also allowed to teach a course at a local high school. He spends the rest of his time in a coffee shop in downtown Eau Claire, where he also works. Of course, 3 jobs are a burden, but Alex wants to get his master's degree in Oregon. To do that, he would have to move and could use a little extra money. Besides, Alex likes his jobs very much. He enjoys teaching at the university and in the school, and he just feels comfortable in the coffee shop. As long as he still has time to read a book from time to time or meet up with friends and family, he is happy. He enjoys chatting with the coffee shop visitors, including Jason and Ezra. Even Jason has noticed that Ezra and Alex seem to be totally on the same wavelength. They have similar interests and views, which is why Jason encourages Ezra to talk to Alex more often. The conversations she has with him at Racy's seem to do her good. Alex also notices this. He notices that his regular customer Ezra seems to have some mental health issues. He tries to help as best he can. At first through conversation, but over time the two become closer. Alex and Ezra start an affair behind Jason's back. When Jason finds out about it, he is hurt. Not only by his girlfriend Ezra, but also by Alex. Jason had come to think of Alex as a friend. He is understandably very disappointed that he has started something with Ezra. In the end, Ezra ends both relationships, with her actual partner Jason and with her lover Alex. Shortly thereafter, Ezra files a complaint against one of Jason's friends. On March 1st, 2018, she makes a statement to the police, accusing this friend, John, of sexually abusing her. 3 weeks later, she shows up at Don's door covered in blood. Ezra says that she and the man had been drinking alcohol. At some point, they lost consciousness, and he took advantage of her. The police begin to investigate the case. Therefore, people close to Ezra are also questioned. This includes Alex. And he reports that Ezra also told him about the incident, but that Ezra told him that it was all consensual. She only regretted it afterwards, because the whole thing coincided with Ezra's relationship with Alex and Jason. Ultimately, the investigation into the matter is dropped. Ezra is not doing well at this time. The police investigation and the breakup with Alex and Jason are taking a toll on her. She moves back in with her parents and leaves Eau Claire. Ezra seems to regret betraying Jason. She tries to win him back. But Jason is too hurt. He just can't trust Ezra anymore. He sees no future in their relationship. But Ezra doesn't give up. On March 21st, 2018, she and Jason have an extremely long conversation via text. They exchange more than 600 text messages over the course of the night. But Jason sticks to his decision. He doesn't want a relationship with Ezra, who is 14 years younger. He would prefer not to see her at all right now. But just a few hours later, Ezra will be standing in front of him again, unannounced. Jason is sitting in Racy's in Eau Claire having a coffee on March 22nd, 2018. He's totally surprised when his ex-girlfriend Ezra suddenly enters the coffee shop. She didn't mention during their chat the night before that she was planning to come to Eau Claire. When Jason asks her about it, she says she actually wanted to come to Eau Claire to see Alex again. She says she has written a few pages that she wants to show him. But Alex is not at Racy's. Jason will later say that Ezra seemed somehow upset, even when she left the coffee shop to drive to Alex's house in her car. And somehow Jason has a bad gut feeling. Despite everything that has happened between the three of them, he still cares about Ezra and Alex. She as his ex-partner, he as his former good buddy. So Jason grabs his bike and heads to Alex's house too. He wants to see if everything is okay with him and Ezra. At first, Jason hesitates in front of Alex's house, but after a few minutes, he goes upstairs and briefly meets the two at the front door. Both Alex and Ezra assure him that everything is okay. But Jason just can't shake his bad feeling. Somehow the mood between Alex and Ezra seems tense. And as if something between the two of them is not okay at all, Jason even advises the two of them to maybe move their conversation to a public place to lighten the mood a bit. The three of them then go outside together. At that moment, a police car turns into the street. One of Alex's neighbors called the police after seeing Jason lurking around in front of the house. The three of them briefly explain the situation. Alex and Ezra then get into their car. They seem to have realized that Jason's idea of continuing their conversation in a neutral place is a sensible one. Jason gets back on his bike. The patrol car drives off again. The police have no reason to suspect that any of the three will be dead within the next few hours. It takes about 3 hours for Ezra McCandless to show up at Dawn Sipples. When she stands in front of him, she is not wearing shoes. She seems distraught and frightened and is covered in mud and blood. She stammers something about an attack and asks to call Jason Mengel, her ex-boyfriend. Dawn keeps a cool head and alerts both the police and emergency doctors. Ezra is taken to a nearby hospital and treated there. She says she has a total blackout. She still remembers being very afraid of Alex Woodworth. Then everything is dark. When the police find out about this, they naturally want to speak to Alex directly. However, the 23-year-old cannot be found. His family cannot reach him either. The police can hardly make sense of the confusing love triangle and Ezra's incoherent statements, especially since there is still no trace of Alex Woodworth. He doesn't turn up overnight either. So the next day, March 23rd, the police go back to Dawn Sipples' house, where Ezra had called in distraught the day before and asked for help. As the police look around the area, they discover mud tracks leading down a hill. Behind it, at a distance, is a carelessly parked car. And when one of the policemen looks through his binoculars, he sees something shocking. There is a motionless person sitting in the car. The car belongs to Ezra McCandless, and I'm sure you can already guess who the motionless passenger is. Alex Woodworth is dead in the car. He was stabbed with great force, 16 times, in the upper body and in the head. Alex had a scarf tied around his neck, as if he had tried to improvise a tourniquet and stop the bleeding. His cell phone is smashed next to the car. Ezra spent the night in the hospital. When the police visited her there and confronted her with having found her car with a body inside, her memory seemingly came back. Ezra says she was with Alex. He was driving her car. Then the two had an argument. Alex parked and attacked her with a knife, carving the word "boy" into her arm. She shows the police the spot that had already caught Don Sippel's eye the day before. Ezra elaborates that Alex often made fun of the fact that she was questioning her gender identity at school. He says he repeatedly made fun of her and therefore cut the word "boy" into her skin, out of mockery. When one of the police officers openly tells her that this sounds completely implausible to him, Ezra caves. She admits to cutting the word into her arm herself, but she maintains that Alex attacked and threatened her. At some point, she ended up in the back seat, where Alex started cutting her clothes. In self-defense, Ezra grabbed the knife by the blade and started stabbing him. However, Ezra's hand must have been seriously injured. Although there are some superficial cuts on her hands, none are on the palm. And that's exactly where there should be a fairly large wound if she really did reach directly for the blade. Something else doesn't add up either. According to Ezra's account, she was beating Alex in the back seat. Forensics found his blood inside the car, but there was a lot more bleeding right outside it. This suggests that Alex was attacked in front of the car and not inside it. And that, in turn, is another indicator that Ezra McCandless is lying to the police. Two weeks after Alex Woodworth's body was found, Ezra McCandless was arrested and charged with first-degree intentional homicide. The trial against the young woman begins 18 months later. In court, Ezra again says she killed Alex in self-defense. She testifies that Alex was always the dominant one in their relationship and enjoyed having control over Ezra. This was also the case during their argument, which, according to her, took place in her car on March 22, 2018. But now Ezra no longer says that she grabbed the knife blade. Instead, she describes how she kicked Alex hard in the stomach with her knee, causing him to drop the knife. She then grabbed it and stabbed him to make him let go of her.
Are you trying to kill him?
No.
What are you trying to do?
I just want to get away. I need to get out of the car. I need to get away as fast as I could.
So why do you keep stabbing him while you're still in the car?
Because he wouldn't let go. He wouldn't let me out. I was terrified.
Ezra says she doesn't really know what happened in the hours that followed. The prosecution sees it differently. They believe that Ezra used the time to tamper with the crime scene, to cut her own clothes, to injure herself with the knife, and then to go to Don Sippel, playing the role of a helpless victim. And that Ezra had driven Alex to this remote area on purpose to murder him with a knife she took from her father's house. The prosecution also believes that it was Ezra who destroyed Alex's cell phone so that he couldn't call for help. She believes that Ezra murdered Alex to get him out of the way. In her twisted view, he stood in the way of a new chance with Jason. After all, Jason was angry that Ezra cheated on him with Alex. Incidentally, Jason is also testifying in court as a witness against Ezra. While Jason is on the stand, Ezra looks at him intensely. At some point, she takes off her blazer. Underneath, she's wearing a top that Jason once gave her. He will later say that he felt more than uncomfortable in this situation, not only because of the already unpleasant occasion, but also because of Ezra's gaze. The The jury finds Ezra McCandless guilty after all. She is sentenced to life imprisonment. She must serve at least 50 years before she can be released on parole.
Mr. McCandless, please rise. We, the jury, find the defendant, Ezra J. McCandless, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in the information. And the answer to the special verdict question is yes, use a dangerous weapon. Again, you may be seated.
Not only Alex's family is severely traumatized, Jason Mengel is also struggling with the fact that he may have been the motive for Ezra's murder of Alex. He still blames himself, even though he tried to mediate between Ezra and Alex on the day of the murder. Ezra McCandless, by the way, continues to deny the murder charges even after her conviction. She insists that she acted in self-defense and is trying to get an appeal started. So far without success. And that's it for today's video. If you liked the video, I'd love to see a like, comment, and/or subscribe. Otherwise, thank you for watching and for all of your support. I hope you are having a good morning, afternoon, or evening, or whatever time it is that you are watching this video, and I hope that we will see each other again in the next video. Until then.